Okay. Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. We're learning Mishna Berura here in Purim, Tov Reish Tzadi Daled, the halachas relevant to the Taras Levyonim, Din, Mois, Purim, and Niyim. We did a few of these halachas before, but we didn't really go through it straight down the line, so I think it's worthwhile learning this all the way straight through.
I'm sorry, can you say again what?
Tov Reish Tzadi Daled.
No.
Yeah. Who'd like to read?
Which seven?
Tov Reish Tzadi Daled.
Which Sith?
See if we'll just review this. We did this once, but just briefly.
Chayav kol adam. Every person is obligated. But take the chot to give
At least.
gifts.
At least.
Stay matanot, 2 gifts. Lishnei aniyim, to 2 poor people. Yesh omrim, there are those who say, sheyesh litain kodam, that there is to give first Purim, or before Purim, machatzis, mean half from Hamat Bea, half from Matbea,
That's a coin.
coin, Akavua, but also Makom, from the place, from his regular place.
But also, you have to give. That's the Yeshua Mashiach Yitain Koyim Purim Maxis Minamabea Kavua also Makom also Zman. There are those that say that before Purim you should give a half coin, which is in currency in that particular place at that particular time, which is Zehel and Maxis a shekel, right? Here in Eretz Yisrael you have the half shekel. I used to have one in my pockets. Maybe it's good up. Right? Half shekel. Right. So it's in currency in Eretz Yisrael and it's in this time. But if I would go to India, right, you probably wouldn't get too much from that in India. So you have to find the half coin, right, in India. If you go to America, you get a $50 coin. There's such a thing as a $50, right? So you look for that and give that as a remembrance of the Maxis Shekel, which was given at the when we had the base of Mikdash, that was collected at the time in Adar.
Me'achar shalosh pa'amim, and from after 3 times to see.
Since Ma'achar became since.
Oh, since that 3 times the seed that is written, Teruma, the Parsha, in the Parsha, Yesh litain, there is to give, Shlosha, 3.
Right. So
Those
therefore,
3 half shekels.
right. So what someone would do is they imagine this is they tape them together. You can just take them, just take them out of your pocket and give it. You don't have to tape them together, but something's convenient.
But having kesef, they go from kesef, that's from kesef.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that?
In terms of the feeling that I'm not sure if there's that much of a difference. There may be a hitter, but
The Spartan, what some of the Spartans, they give the equivalent of half a silver, whatever silver is called. One point give half the equivalent,
right.
by 28 shekels, 27 shekels.
I think in America, they used to bring in silver dollars.
Half
They
dollars.
take 3
Yeah.
silver dollars
And you
together,
pick them up and you make them.
and then you would give paper dollars,
Right.
and then you pick up the silver dollars, and so you acquire them, and then you give them back. And you bought them,
Right.
and then you acquired them, and then you give them back.
True enough.
Rabbi, the 3 times that they say truma in the pasuk, right?
Right.
2 of them were half a shekel, but 1 of them was unlimited. It wasn't the same.
True. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah.
No, right, but since it's a zeichel, it makes us a shekel, the half shekel,
Okay.
that's why. But it's right, and then the only thing is the 3, how do you get 3? Meaning, according to one opinion, you made it probably don't need 3. 1's enough. The others would say we should do 3 because it's mentioned 3 times
Right.
truma. But
Okay.
you're right, one of the trumas mentioned was not a half.
Okay.
Right.
V'yesh lead to know, and there is for him to give.
Right.
V'leal Purim, on the evening of Purim, that would be before Purim.
That would be,
Friday night.
Titus says, well,
Thursday night.
yeah, well, it depends where you are, and what the Ramah's talking about in Chutz La'aretz, where it would be Yud Dal, so it would be the eve going into the end of the Tainus, before, if they daven Mincha late, before Ma'ariv, so they would give it before Mincha, right, during the Tainus.
Kodem she mis palalim, before you pray, mincha. V'chein, and thus, no hagim v'chol v'medinot elu. And these are the customs in all of the different countries.
Well, yeah, and so knowing it, and so is the custom, right, in all
So.
these regions, Let's stop here and do there are actually a couple of Berura I think I'd like to learn to begin with. Again, the Mechaber said, Chayim kol adam litein lifkois shtei matanos l'shtei aniyim. A person is obligated to give at least 2 gifts to 2 poor people. Okay? And then the Ramah went in and started mentioning about the Maxis Shekel, which is not the same thing as this at all. Right? So here the Berura goes into some details. Litein lifkois. Take a look at that, what it says there, the second one. Everyone have the place there? Litein lifkois, to give at least. Should be given at least 2.
Nis tapakti matana le'evyon. What's the first word? Nis tapakti.
I have a doubt. So suffix.
Oh, suffix,
The
ah.
tough makes it a poil, in the T at the end of me, that I am doubtful.
Concerning giving gifts to the poor. E mehane al manas l'chazir. If it's on account of remembering,
Imahani, if it helps,
it helps.
that you gave al manas on the condition
It's
to
like
get
a
it
loan,
back.
it's a loan.
What?
It's like a loan, he gives him a loan to give him, he pays him back, yeah.
Yeah, like-
Purim?
Yeah.
You're giving stuff to take it back?
Yeah.
How can you do that? I mean,
Well-
I don't understand this concept.
The best way to do
I'm missing
charity,
something.
it's better to give a loan for charity than it is to give charity, because giving a
But
loan
this is Purim where it's different.
retains the self-respect of the
Right,
person.
but Purim is different. Purim has a law of giving to poor people.
Right,
It's different
it's-
than,
it's
Doesn't mean
than-
you don't have to give the best way.
no, because if you give it as a loan, then you're not Yotze giving Matanas Le'Evyon.
I'll give you an example.
Sure they
Let's say a guy, again, like we saw, maybe we'll have chance to review it. Maybe a guy, right? The minimal amount is shtei prutos.
Right.
Okay. So let's say a half a shekel is worth shtei
Okay.
prutos. Let's say this is all he's got. He's all he's got is the only money in his pocket is 1/2 shekel.
Who, the ani or the?
The rich man.
The
That's the rich person.
Okay.
Rich person. That's all he's got, right? So he's got to give 2 of these. He only has 1, right? So I'm asking you, look, I want you to do me a favor, okay? You love mitzvahs and I love mitzvahs. So help me out. I have to do a mitzvah here. I have 2 mitzvahs to do. I have to give shtei matanos le'evyon. I don't have 1 coin. So how in the world am I going to do that, right? So I'll make a deal with you. Yeah, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to ask you to give it back. And then I'll get it back and I'll give it to somebody else. Isn't it worth me getting my mitzvah of shtei matanos than this half shekel? I mean, how much do you really care about this half shekel?
I have to think about that. I'm not gonna answer that.
I'm just trying to create a situation.
No, I hear you. You have a great point, Brad, but that's why I have to think about it. You
Okay.
have a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, you make a lot of sense, but it's not the way I ever learned it. So I have,
No, I mean, look, we're trying to understand, look, the Mr. Brewer didn't have to write this. I mean, there are a lot of things he could have written about.
You're right. You're right.
You know, so, you know, obviously, he felt there was some relevance for Klal Yisrael to write this down, right? That we should discuss it and try and understand. So anyway, he has a suffix. He's doubtful. Well, that's how he starts off. Let's see what he says.
So he has a doubt if a person can give it amanastic.
Right, that's what he says. Istipakti v'matana le'evion. He's in doubt. I, the Chafetz Chaim, he's writing this about himself. I am in doubt about a gift to an evion, to a poor person, if it helps, if it's given on the condition to get it back. Right?
Umishloach manos lo mahane.
Oh, so now it says, he
Mishloach
says,
manos, it doesn't help.
right, so apparently by Mishloach Manos, that does not help. Right? That doesn't help. Here he has a doubt whether it would help by the Tanzania. Let's see what.
Didn't we say that we could make a deal? I'll give you.
That's true. That's trading. I
You
can trade with you. You'll take mine, and I'll get on the condition you'll give me yours. That we can do. But we never said that I'm going to give you mine, and in order that you should give it back to me. We had a case of Kil Hiskabalti. That was Mechila. I'm giving you two, and you're going to say I don't want it. It's as if I received it already. But that's not almanas. I'm not making a deal with you, mirosh, from the very beginning that that's what we're going to do. If you want to do that, it's okay. And then I'm yotzi, but not that I'm doing it mirosh from the very beginning, at the onset, initially, to do it that way.
Got it. Ki mitzvah me'achol umashkeh. It's a mitzvah to eat and to drink.
Right?
Samhu, that you'll be happy. The Purim, on Purim.
Right, so giving Mosholach Monas on the condition you can get it back, they're not making anybody happy with that. Right?
You're not making a poor person happy if you ask him to give it back because I'm short.
Right, okay, so the question is, obviously there's some difference, fundamentally there's a difference between Shalach Monas and Matanas Yom.
You're right. I understand that.
Right.
And you make a lot of sense what you said also.
Right.
It's just that if you're saying that you have to make a poor person happy, tell him give it back, so give it to the other guy.
So that, well, first of all, Shalach Monas is not a poor person.
No, it's not right.
That's right. We've been in Nafshi,
Right.
right? They've been in Nafshi,
Right.
right? So that's not necessarily. So you don't have to make sure. You have to do something, and that's also one of the basic fundamental principles of Shalach Monas. That you have to try and give something which is really going to make a person happy. Like, you know, it's a funny thing in our time when everyone's going to get these waffling and a bag of gum, another bag of gum, another bag of waffling, who's happy about that, right? So you have to be, if you really want to try and do the mitzvah creatively, we should spend a little bit of time about things which people really appreciate.
Okay.
Maybe things that they would normally buy. I'm talking again. You don't have to do it with one person.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, if you just want to, give out, just to
There you
yeah. You have these crembos or something like that. You give a crembo and a little chocolate or a thing of chocolate milk. You might like that for breakfast. Might be good if you like crembos. I have a friend that likes crembos. A little bag of chocolate milk. Yeah, no, good. Give it out to the Yeshiva bucket. So, but if he's, if he really knows he really likes pastrami, he's telling you, I haven't had pastrami since I left the States, so you go out there and you find, some nice pastrami, pastrami with
Mustard.
pumpernickel bread, I haven't had that in years.
Oh, God.
So in other
So
words,
now the guy's happy, right?
in other words, a significant difference between giving gifts to the poor
Yeah.
and giving Mishloach Manos is that part of giving Mishloach Manos is to make the person happy.
Yes.
Whereas part of giving to the poor is not to make the person happy.
Not necessarily. He should have what he needs to buy for his Suda, so he should be able to celebrate the Feast of Purim properly. That's the Matanas Levyonim. Right? Also, Shalach Manas is also that they should have what to eat in their feast as well. But really, it's to be marba the reyus. It's supposed to create that friendship, that chavashav, that association of people liking each other. So the gift should be a medium of creating more friendship, if it's possible. If it's possible. It's like in order to fulfill your mitzvah once and only once. I mean, that's all you have to do is one time. The rest of the other things that you're doing, again, if you can do it creatively, that's.
So it says in the Gemara, "Ein simcha ela basar v'yayin."
Right.
So why don't we derive from that and say, since simcha is an aspect of Mishloach Manot, you have to give meat and wine in the package?
Okay, we weren't obligated to do that, but in truth, I mean, the Mechaber mentioned about basar when he gave the example of what you're supposed to give. He used the example of basar and other types of foods, right? And
But that's not the custom. I mean, most Mishloach Manot do not contain any basar. They might have wine.
yeah,
Some of them might have wine,
right.
but the custom is generally not
What do you usually get?
meat. Usually get sweets, chumatashin, nuts, dried fruit.
Right.
So, things that are nice that you can eat, but not necessarily
Sure.
basar.
Right.
I don't think I've ever gotten a Mishloach Manot with basar in it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's, look, again, you have to, this guy, he likes whitefish, so you go, go get a whitefish, a whitefish with, that's one thing, if you want to, try and do, that one mitzvah, the rest of all the other things, okay, you don't have to be so extravagant, but, if you want to, do it, you could, try to be creative that way,
Machatzisa shekel, and a half shekel, im mechalkin la'ani'im. If, what's mechalkin?
The distributor.
If you distribute to poor people, yotz'in, you go out,
Fulfill.
yidei matanos, according to gifts, le'evyonim, you fulfill the mitzvah of giving to the poor people.
Okay,
So
so
machatzitza shekel.
right, so the Mishnah Berurah, so he's mentioned really three different things here. First, he's raising the question if you give the matanas levyonim almanas lahaksir whether you yotzi or not. So then it's very thin ice to try and start. Don't enter into such a thing. If you happen to have that one and only one coin, so beg from somebody else to get a coin from somebody else.
If you're a rich man, you can borrow. I mean, that's what I'm wondering about this.
Yeah, okay, but look, I had a question whether or not, but Shalach Manas, it doesn't help. Okay, and then finally, if you're going to give matanas levyonim, the mitzvah shekel, that's going to be distributed to the poor, so you could be yotzi with that.
You might have to check with the shul, whoever you give.
Yeah, who are they giving it to? What's it going for? That's it. Let's see the next Berura now. The Shnei, you have to give the two poor people.
Below you take lahem kodem Purim. Don't give it before Purim. Dilma, perhaps achli, he will eat the who. They will eat kodem Purim before Purim.
Yeah, so they'll get money, as it is, Olenu, a poor person probably doesn't have much income, so he gets income, a nice, so, well, I haven't had pizza in years. I got myself, a good 50 shekel, get myself pizza, but it goes a day or two away.
Right. Umin chag haolam, and the general custom, litain kodem Purim is to give before Purim. Af matanot, even the matanot, that the gifts, le'evyonim, even the gifts to poor people, mitzvah so, his mitzvah, dafka specifically, Bayom Purim, is on the day of Purim.
Right, so the custom is the custom of the general populace is to give before Purim, even though that the Matanas Levyonim is commanded to be given specifically on Purim. But you see that the meaning of most people is not to do that way. So how can that be? It seems that most people are not doing correctly. So what's going on here?
Tzarich Lomar, it's necessary to say, Da'al Kar Chacha, I don't know that word.
Perforce, out of necessity.
Oh,
You must say.
Right. You're forced to say, Notain, give, shtei, matanot, 2 gifts, le'avyonim, to poor people, gam, also, b'yom Purim. So we're forced to say that a general custom is that they give before, but they also give on.
Right. I mean, the person shouldn't say, well, I gave before, the fellow came along or whatever, and I gave him, and so therefore he's free from giving. No, you should make a point of giving something, something on Purim to at least 2 people. And people come around, and even though you may have given the bulk of your money in previous to Purim, nevertheless on Purim people do come around, and it's a mitzvah to give to them. That's aside from the fact that kol poshad yad, anyone comes around and asks, you should give as well. But you can have in mind that I'm also giving in order to fulfill my mitzvah of the Torah, even though you might have given the bulk of what you wanted to give previous to Purim.
Gam yesh harbe aniyim, and also there are many poor people, ha-chozrim, that return,
Circulate.
that circulate, al ha.
See that word, Rachmin? Chozrim? Circulate. Chozrim is circulate.
Oh, sorry. Al ha-petachim. Excuse me. No. I lost my place.
Gam yesh harbe aniyim, right? Ha-chozrim al pesachim b'Purim. And another secondary reason why you should be giving out also, even though you gave, let's say you gave your Matanas Levyonim before Purim, nevertheless you should give on Purim, because there are many of the poor that are circulating from door to door on Purim itself. So when they're coming and asking from you should give. Don't say, well, I gave already. Okay, deep down, take another 20 shekels out of your pocket and...
20 shekels good, they say that's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I'll take 50 out. If you can't afford, look, you're not going to go broke. I mean, what you have is what you have. It's better to break it up into give. If you have 100 shekels, so you better break it up into 5 coin pieces and give everybody a 5, rather than 2 people 50 or 5 people 20. Remember one year it was like, it was after, it was even after Purim, some guys came and started, whatever, I want to take it all, nothing left in the house. Put it all away, what I had decided I was going to give, and I still said, nothing, the rest of it again.
First come, first served.
Yeah.
Can you give an ani food?
Yes,
Sure.
yes. You can give that to Mishna Berura says here.
Berura.
Look at Siv Cotton Bays in the Mishna Berura. Right?
Mishna Berura.
Lite lefachos. You should give at least 2 matanas l'shnei. Siv Cotton Bays. What is it?
Down here? Base? Down here?
Yeah.
Litain lifachot kule.
Mhm.
Verashai litain ma'achal o ma'os.
Right.
Rashai is wicked.
Permitted. You're permitted.
Permitted.
Permitted to give money or
Ma'achal
food.
o ma'os.
Right, so when the top comes around, right, the 20 money.
Oh,
So when the top comes around, the 16 buckram, we'll take out a big cake here, guys.
Enjoy.
Said what? What are you gonna do with the cake? Because we discussed that they're not collecting when you give them to the top. They're not collecting the top, right? if you give it to this bacher, I'm giving it to you, right? Don't want to receive. I don't want to receive the title. I'm giving it to you, so that you could probably be Yotzi in terms of fun. We've got all the guys come around, so you can each want 5 shekels. I'll give you 50 shekels of a tot. You'd be surprised.
For my son a few years ago, one of the married boys now, they sat on some guy, $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the Avodah right away into the computer.
Yeah.
Didn't even believe it. They called him to the Rosh Yeshiva, the Rosh Yeshiva didn't believe it. $10,000.
Yeah. Purim's the time of these things.
That's the time. The guy was drunk altogether.
Okay, look. All right, let's continue. Let's see. Now we were learning about the Machshis Shekel. Look at the next short Berura. Yeshomim Sheish Litin. You should give the Machshis Shekel, right? Have the last one-liner.
Va'ani, and a poor person, misparnes, who is supported, min ha-tzedakah, from tzedakah, tarich iyun im mechuyav. It's necessary for the subject.
It requires analysis. It requires analysis. Im mechuyav litin Machshis Shekel.
Im mechuyav, if he's if it's proper.
If he is obligated to give Machshis Shekel.
Only the poor person is obligated
Right.
to give.
The ani who's supported strictly because of tzedakah, it requires analysis if he's obligated to give the Machshis Shekel.
But doesn't it say in the Torah,
Yes.
the poor person shall not give more, and the poor person shall not give less, and the rich person shall not give more?
Correct.
So doesn't that tell us that he has to give, even if he's
Right.
poor?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Right. I mean, exactly.
What?
See, this is only a commemoration, a commemorance of it. If it was the real Machshis Shekel, you have to come up with the money.
I see.
You have to come up with the money. But this is only a commemorance of the Machshis Shekel. So therefore, it's a question whether or not he actually has to give. Right? How far do you take it? Is it a commemoration, which is exactly like the obligation of the Torah, in which case he would have to give, and not just Agav Rabbi Yeruchim Rovitz, the Mishkiach of the Mir in Europe, that he explained the mitzvah of Machshis Shekel. He had a question. He laid down a principle as follows. Every mitzvah in the Torah must in some way affect the person. Right? If the mitzvah is not going to affect the person in some way, it's not going to be some type of a test for the person. It's not necessary to command it. Lo sigzav. If a person wasn't interested in some way or another of stealing, the Torah wouldn't have to tell you to not to steal. Right? So when you looked at the mitzvah Machshis Shekel, so why an ani? Okay, we can understand. An ani, it's hard for him to come up with that half shekel. I mean, that half shekel of getting bread on the table for his family that day. That means a lot to him. Right? We're explaining what's the principle of Machshis Shekel, the Doraisa. Rabbi Yeruchim from the Mir, he said that every mitzvah in the Torah must affect the person in some way or another. It must be in the story, it must be a test. So I was wondering, what test is there by the Machshis Shekel? By the ani to give him up with a half a shekel, we understand, so that's hard sometimes. But for an usher, to give a half a shekel, what is the big deal? Give a quarter, what's no big deal at all. So he says another principle, which is important when you talk to Bachram that collecting, or anybody's collecting should realize this principle, it's a very important principle. He says that a Kadosh Baruch gives everybody what they have in the world, whether it's like, for example, intelligence or money, right? They're given these things in order that they should be able to use them, right? When he's given intelligence, he should use it in the proper way. An usher is given his money, they should use it in an intelligent way. Sometimes if they don't get the right hadracha, they don't have the right guidance, they're off the track, they don't use it in the proper way. But really what they're given, excuse me, is they're given these things in order to achieve the things that Hashem wants to be carried out in the world. So an Usher has built into his personality the necessity of using his money, right, to do things and to make himself a name, so to speak, right? Make himself a name. So here the Torah comes along and says, no, you can't use any more money than anybody else. You've got to give exactly like everybody else. You've got to be the same as everybody else. There's going to be no plaque. There's not going to be no dinner, right? There's not going to be any phone call, right? Not even an envelope in the mail saying what you got, right? You're going to give a half a shekel just like everybody else gives a shekel, half a shekel. And that's a big missign for an usher, right? So that's important. The bucket go around collecting and saying, yeah, you can't just say, oh, you know, look, we have all these wonderful things we're doing in our yeshiva, in our Mossad, whatever. It says, hey, look, you can do so many good things with your money. I'll tell you, we'll even make a special Mishnayos program in your name. They say, oh, you know, that's something, you know, they'll give much because their teva is that they want to see that their money is being used in special, unique ways to use it in possible and proper ways. So that's a very important yesod that we learn from Maksas Shekel. So here we have the Mr. Berura. He's asking himself a question. They have an ani, someone who gets all his income from tzedakah, whether he, that type of a person, has to give Maksas Shekel. There's a zecher, that is the zecher Maksas Shekel, right? That it's not really a chiv the rice, it's only a zecher. Okay, Mitzvah Hashem, I think we'll stop here. Okay, Rabbi.